Good evening, everybody. It's Jeff Kessinger with the Christian County Headliner News, and it's time for our Thursday night football preview. And this is a look, believe it or not, at the first round of the district tournament. The regular season is over, so that means it's win in advance or lose and go home. Our eyes this week will be focused on Ozark. That is going to be the site of our Ozark Chevrolet Game of the Week, where the Tigers will host Waynesville. Let's take a quick look at that bracket, and you can see Ozark and Waynesville there. That is the number 4 versus number 5 game. Glendale ended up with the top seed, so they'll await the winner of that contest. On the bottom of the bracket, you've got Branson hosting Springfield Central, and Lebanon will play whoever advances from that. Now, Waynesville is a complete unknown to Ozark. We looked back through the archives. We couldn't find a game between the two teams in the last 10 years. They have no common opponents this year, and that makes scouting kind of interesting. You can look at a team's schemes and their tendencies on tape, but you don't get a sense of how big, strong, fast they are unless you have a reference point. So not having seen them against somebody you've played, you don't really have a great idea about what they're going to look like on the field. And thankfully, that's a challenge that goes both ways. Talking to Ozark head coach Chad DePay this week, he said Waynesville has great athletes, which they typically do. They're going to be a spread offense. They can try and spread the field wide and then use their quarterback and running backs to move vertically up the field. So that'll be a challenge for them. They've got a very talented sophomore, I believe, playing running back. So they will be able to move the football a little bit. Defensively, he said they're going to put a lot of pressure on Ozark, and so they're going to have to really control the point of attack. They're going to have to make sure they sustain drives and, of course, hold on to the football. Waynesville enters the game 0-9, but do not be misled by that. They played Camdenton, who is state-ranked, close in a 28-7 loss. They have a 7-point loss against Lebanon earlier this year. And they've actually played 4 games that they lost by 8 points or fewer. They have had some clunkers as well. They've got beaten by 20 points in 4 or more games, but this probably will not be a cakewalk for Ozark. Waynesville will present a very unique challenge, and they'll come in this one looking to win. Waynesville is not coming into Ozark to roll over and go home. So one of the goals for Ozark in the season was to get a home playoff game. They've accomplished that goal, and seeing Glendale on the same side of the bracket in the next round, that getting into that game would be another goal accomplished for Ozark. So there's a lot for them to play for still. They can still meet a lot of the goals that they had set for themselves, even with sort of a bumpy middle part of the season. Nixa, meanwhile, Eagles fans, take a deep breath. There is no game this week for you. They got the 2nd seed. Carthage got the 1st seed. So those two teams will have a first-round bye. That means they can get healed. They can have a nice relaxed week of practice, and then be ready for the semifinals. That's a big deal for Nixa. They've got some injuries that could be healed up and get some players back for the playoffs that they have not had this week. Republic, Neosho is that 4 versus 5 game. That winner gets Carthage, and then Willard or Parkview will advance to the next round to play against Nixa. Spoke with Nixa coach Rich Rehagen this week. They've kind of had the luxury of having the bye weeks, I think, for the last 5 seasons. So they're developing a routine and a ritual to how they do these things, and that's been a big help. They work a little bit on some fundamentals and things like that slip away during the season when you're so focused on game preparation that you don't have time to go back and correct some of those little things, blocking, tackling, assignments that maybe you work on early in the year. So they appreciate the opportunity to have a bye week to get some of those kinks worked out, and then also to game plan a little bit. Good chance that they'll be playing Willard. Parkview has had kind of a rough year this year, and the good news for Nixa is they've already scouted Willard. They know a lot about them. So if it comes to that, they do feel prepared. But that's another week down the line. So we have a typical Friday night scheduled for you guys on typical Friday. Go to ccheadliner.com tomorrow. We'll have a preview story for Nixa versus Waynesville. We'll also have a story about Nixa and kind of how they have handled these bye weeks. Friday night, go to Twitter, follow at Headliner Sports. We'll have live updates for you from Ozark versus Waynesville. We'll have photos as usual. We'll have a story post game. We'll also have a video on our Facebook page, and that is facebook.com/CC Headliner News. Then next week, Nixa returns to action, so we'll definitely have coverage of them. And if things go well in Ozark, then we'll have a preview story and a look at their game next week as well. And before we finish our video this week, we want to make sure we give congratulations to Billings, Clever, and Ozark Volleyball. Those 3 schools all won district championships this week, and they will be in sectional play Saturday, October 21st. Billings will be at Miller, Clever is going to be at Stratford, and Ozark will be at Carl Jump. Now those are 4-team tournaments. The one school that survives will go on to the state championship. That is October 27th through the 28th. Ozark, as you see, we're getting match point against. Kickapoo has won 9 straight district championships now. The Tigers have also been to 9 straight state championships, and that's a streak they would very much like to keep. And we'll have stories about those matches at ccheadliner.com. In fact, if you go there right now, we've got coverage of Clever's championship win as well as Ozark's championship win. And we want to thank Ozark Chevrolet for sponsoring those videos. So enjoy your Friday night, fans. We'll see some of you at the game. Eagles fans, have a great night off, and we will talk to you again soon.